Miss Charlene, one other thing, did you want to talk about the upcoming conference?
The training,
The conference that's going to be in Orange County?
yes, it's my folder, so don't let me forget to ask this. Okay, so in the National Association of Conservation Districts, also known as NACD, is going to bring their annual meeting to Florida in February of 2022. So in preparation for that meeting, AFCD is working to establish a committee to work with NACD in making meeting plans. They will do most of the meeting planning, but for some tours and some activities in the area and kind of keep everything like flow the right way for the meeting, they asked for a person from your board to sit on that committee. So I don't know who would, one or all, or however you want to handle it, to serve on that committee. Probably one person, but if you guys can decide
Okay.
and let me know. And once you decide who that person's gonna be, just make sure you let me know so I can send an email to everyone on the group. That meeting typically, usually there's at least probably maybe 2,000 people from across the country, a little more, maybe a little less, that come, well, Florida is a hot spot for them, so they typically have more participation because everyone wants to come to Florida at that meeting. So
Okay.
just let me know who would be willing to participate on that committee, and we'll get you some information as we get it. They just wrapped up their virtual annual meeting this year, so I think they've kind of been waiting to get through that before they start on the 2022 meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Could you say the full name of that one more time?
It's National Association of Conservation Districts.
Thank you.
And the acronym is NACD.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys need anything else, just reach out anytime.
Okay.
By phone or email.
Anybody have any other questions for Ms. Charlene? I want to just take advantage while they're here. If you
Yeah,
have any
no.
questions about anything.
I had something to bring up in my, about the dues for it, so I don't know if this is the right time to bring that
Yeah.
up.
Yes, we were emailed a form. I think you emailed us the other day about the dues that's due, that's $250.
Right, so typically for full dues is $350. And then if you can't pay the $350, then you submit a hardship letter and a copy of your financial statement and say, we don't have a regular source of income for the board, and we haven't done any fundraisers, and this year we can't pay $350, but here's what we can pay.
Okay, and if we did send in the hardship letter, because I know with the dues, there's a lot of additional access the board can have to like workshops, would that exempt us from those workshops, or?
At this time, no,
Okay.
you're still included.
Okay.
Or if you pay $50 or $350, we're not gonna not let you participate because you didn't pay
Okay.
the full amount. Yes,
Okay.
and you'll certainly be included. So the next, we are gonna do an online training for new supervisors. For whatever reason, just scheduling wise, it hasn't worked out, but we're working on that now. And then your area, so you have your district that's countywide, then you belong to what's known as your area, which is Area 4. And then the next would be the state and then national level for districts. So the area meetings typically take place in the springtime, but because of COVID and restrictions and regulations, it may be pushed to summertime. And then we also do an annual meeting I think we have it planned for September of this year, and we're working on having that meeting in the Jacksonville area. We did do that meeting in November of 2020 face-to-face, and it was our most successful meeting that we have ever had since I've been here.
Wow.
We had our partners, NRCS and FDACS were not there. Our state conservationist from NRCS was there, but his folks weren't because of the travel bans. But we did have about 50 supervisors from the whole state present, and it worked out. It was great. It was very informative. We had time to get everything done that we needed. We actually did training at that meeting for the folks that were there, so it was very, very successful face-to-face.
Okay.
It was great. So
Great.
hopefully we'll see you all in Jacksonville area in September.
Okay, okay, good stuff. Okay.
So, Archie?
Well, I'm Archie Matthews, and I serve as parliamentarian to the board. I'm one of the past presidents of AFCD, and they like to keep me around, and plus, I don't live too far from Charlene, so she can call me and, roust me out. Plus, I am retired, although I'm not sure how I had time to work. I spent the last 25 years before I retired as the records manager for the Alachua County Clerk of the Circuit Court. I also served as president of the Florida Records Management Association and still a Florida Certified Records Manager. And so they come to me if there's questions about public records, public meetings, public records requests, things like that. Some of the things that we have available on our website, or you can request it, is kind of what I call the Cliff Notes version of how to respond to a public records request. I will tell you that there is a cottage industry out there of people who make public records requests in the hope that you don't respond to it. Because when you don't respond to it, then they're going to come back and sue you in circuit court, and they win every time. And these people actually make a good living at doing this. And so one of the things that I encourage people to do is, first of all, don't panic. And second of all, if you have a question that we can't answer from the website, give me a call.
Okay.
I can tell you how to go about that. But the worst thing, I will tell you this, and emphasize this, write this, carve it in letters of stone. Do not ignore a public records request, okay? Don't ignore it. Even if it looks ridiculous, don't ignore it. One of the things, this was going around a couple of years ago, some outfit in Boca Raton was making requests of districts about their district employee. Well, a lot of districts don't have an employee, but a lot of folks kind of got into a panic. Well, how do I answer this? I said, you answer very simply, we don't have any employees. So you can't provide salary figures, et cetera, anything like that. So just keep in mind that you do fall under all the rules of the Sunshine Law, Chapter 119 of the Florida statutes. Your meetings must be publicly noticed. You must keep minutes of those meetings, and those minutes are available immediately upon the close of the meeting. Now, what I mean by that is even the scratch notes that you make, that you're going to turn into the official minutes, those, if somebody requests them, you got to make them available right then. My hometown of Alachua several years ago got into big trouble, and it cost them big bucks because somebody came and requested the minutes of the previous city commission's meeting, and they said, oh, they're not public until they're approved at the next meeting. Well, I had some friends on the city commission, and I said, oh, you're messing up big time. And they go, no, that's the way we've always done it. Well, they had to pay out a bunch of big bucks, too, on that. So, again, not to panic anybody or anything like that, but just if you have questions, ask. It's the simplest thing to do. Again, we're looking forward to having the annual national meeting down here next year. The national meeting was here in Orlando about 10 years ago when the association was just getting started. And we actually kind of triggered a thing that they do at the national meeting every year since then. They call it, it's like a taste of whichever state. And so we did that, and it was very successful, very popular. Again, they've taken it on. NACD, they have a dues structure. It costs a lot more for NACD dues, but you can also make a contribution at a much lower level and remain on their mailing list. My district doesn't have the money to pay full dues, but we send them like $10 a year, and we still get their newsletters and that sort of thing. So, again, I'm available. Charlene can connect you to me if you have any questions about records, public meetings, anything like that. One of the, of course, and again, I can't emphasize enough that everything you do falls under the government and sunshine. And so if you run into one of your fellow supervisors at, at church, in the grocery store, on the street, in the restaurant, whatever. You can talk about anything under the sun except what's going to come back before this meeting. So it's not like you're, required to say, oops, they're there, I have to go the other way. No, you can meet as friends, you can talk about school, weather, children, church, anything like that, but you can't discuss anything that's going to come before this meeting. Okay. That's not hard to do. Again, I'm always happy to help. I've been hanging around this association since it started. I was active in the previous association before it was dissolved. Did some changes a few years ago, and we only have to run it once a year, because that was an expensive way to notice your meetings. Also, when you send your notice to the commissioner's office, then it goes onto the commissioner's calendar. So you can look at the FDAC's website, and you'll see soil and water meetings listed also on the commissioner's calendar.
Okay. What was the name of that website again? I'm sorry.
It's on the Office of Agriculture Water Policy.
Yeah. OAWP, one of those things you have to kind of learn to do is to speak in acronyms.
Okay.
We have to get out of the habit of assuming everybody knows what they were talking about. I mean, we talk about NRCS and FDACs and OAWP and then when you get into your various programs that the DC will talk to you about, then you got to look at B maps and, BMPs and, agencies, the FSA and the NRCS. So, I'm bad about it too, assuming that everybody knows what these acronyms mean. So if I throw one at you, stop me and ask me if you don't know.
Yes, sir. We really appreciate this. It's been
Sure.
some very good information.
I have one question too, if it's right.
Sure.
When it comes to the sunshine laws, if there's something that we're trying to plan a food drive, so we've talked about it in the meeting, right? And then after that, we're not allowed to talk via email about anything about it. Do we have to hold another meeting? If we want to do the planning for it, we have to hold another meeting and public notice that?
So you can do a workshop, like a board workshop, in addition to your meetings to
Okay.
plan things of that nature. They would obviously be open to the public as well. And I think they're noticed about the same. And I can send you a sample of a workshop meeting notice, but not by email.
Okay.
So, that's kind of been a challenge for some of the boards that don't have a staff person to kind of communicate for meetings and such. You can send an agenda and say, please find an agenda, and the board can, respond back and say, please add, such as X, Y, and Z to the agenda, or meeting date and time, those kind of things. But anything that you're gonna vote on as a board, or any business that you're gonna discuss as a board, can't be discussed via emails, like the dues email. If your board's gonna discuss, not paying the full amount as board business, then you can't talk about it via email. And I know it's very confusing and sometimes challenging because you don't have a staff person to run your stuff, to send out or talk about or ask, but just be careful on emails.
Yeah, and can I just ask you about that? Because basically what happened, right? She sent me the dues, and I copied in everyone, but I just wanted everyone to be aware of the dues.
Right.
So I thought that it was like a preliminary thing that I could give people before the meeting, so everyone was aware of it, but you
Right.
can't do that either.
So,
Yes, no, now that's legitimate, because that's an item that's going to go on the agenda. You can send it out and say, we will discuss this at the next meeting.
Okay,
But you can't say,
Discuss it at all
hey,
during the
this is going out, what do you think?
okay, gotcha.
That's a sunshine law violation.
Okay.
So also the opinion that I got when I asked about sending out, for another board, sending out information before the meeting, because they were sending out kind of a packet of information. The response that I got was just because you could do it, doesn't mean you should do it, because it could open up a door for, let me ask about this, or, does that make sense?
I totally
It's a
understand, yeah.
gray area.
It's better just to stay away from it. I agree. I just want to know the details, because just so that I fully understand it, but thank you, because I was
So,
really confused.
I know it sounds kind of not, I don't know what the word is, I don't want to say the wrong word and get in trouble, but it's kind of like, you guys are volunteering, you're already volunteering your time. You don't want to end up with someone complaining and you incur a fine that's going to cost you money, or, do you know what I mean?
I
If you-
agree,
If you
yes.
need me to send something out for you, just send it to me, I'll be happy to send it out.
Okay.
I kind of volunteered that for another board, and every week I'm now sending stuff out for them, but I really don't mind. I would rather do it for you than you know, open yourself up to a fine or something of that nature.
Okay, that's helpful, thank you.
So we per se, the board can't, but what if we ended up getting an associate supervisor?
Right.
Could that associate supervisor take on those roles and those
So
responsibilities?
they can send you out the information for you, and then, okay, so say, and I'll remember to send this to you. So say they send out the agenda, and they say, you know, good afternoon, Orange Stormwater Supervisors, please find the agenda for Friday's meeting. Then if you were gonna reply and say, hey, add this, you would not hit reply all, you would just reply to that associate or whoever sent it out. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So you can see it, you just can't reply all and discuss it.
yes.
Yeah, and I noticed in the stipulations, you can have someone talk to everyone, but that person can't tell the other people, like, what the
Right.
other people are thinking about, voting about, or discussing, any of that. They can only, like, everyone can speak to them, but they can't say what the other
Good
people are
point,
saying.
because then it ends up being like you've got a go-between.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
and
You
then that would
can't
be
have a
like
go-between.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that, so.
And one last thing, I'm sorry, I keep like jumping all over. We are going, like, every year, the First Amendment Association or something- Foundation in Tallahassee, they produce a handbook. I just found out this whenever I was researching the Sunshine Law stuff. They do a handbook every year. They're in the process of doing 2021s now. As soon as we get a copy of that, I'm gonna try to be able to just make a copy and send to everyone, or send it to our paid members, like, or buy a copy for each of our paid members. So that's something that might come with, if you pay full dues, you get this. But you all can certainly go and get your own, you know, I don't know how much they are or what's in the manual, but it might be something good to have on hand just as a, you know, personal reference. So that's always, I'll send you the link directly to their website so you can sign up for that information as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So I'll send a massive email
Okay,
on Monday.
okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have one more question. You had sent two different emails, right? One was about, generally, the dues are $350, and that's like per year, right? And then you also sent one that said that we owed $225.
Right, so that's not to us. Good point. I had a note to remember that too. So every year, you have to complete a special district fee and update form. That does not come from us. That comes from the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. I don't know where your mail goes or who is getting those emails. I don't know who your registered agent is, so that might be something that you guys want to look at also. So that fee is due, that form is due typically the first week of December. The form for Orange did not get sent back in December. So if you don't fill that form out and turn it in, then you start getting late fees. There's like a 2-week period, and then you get a $25 late fee, and then there's another 2-week period, and you get another $25 late fee. I think there was one last week. So if your board falls within the threshold to not have to pay that fee, then you wouldn't have to pay it or pay the late fees. So I don't know who got the form or where the form is at. In the email that I sent out with that $225 amount, there was a link that you could go to find it, like find the form information. So you may want to like designate someone, like, I don't know how your board broke up with secretary, treasurer, or whatever, but typically the board treasurer would go on and do that. And you can reach out to that office about getting those fees waived. Say, hey, you know, we don't know where the form went. It might have went to an old supervisor or, you know, former past supervisor, or it's in a post office box that we don't have access to, or whatever. And they typically are pretty good about working with you to waive those fees. If you don't get them paid a time and you don't reach out, they can send those fees to a collection agency, and then you have to deal with the collection agency on top of it. So just try to reach out, and if whoever you designate has questions, I can get you in touch with that office.
Okay.
So that's December. By June 30th, your annual financial report is going to be due also. And typically that's done all online. You won't have a paper to mail in any longer. So someone, either you all or on the past boards, will have the login and password to complete that form. If you don't have that, then there's a contact to obtain that information.
Is that for the 350, or that's just our
No,
annual?
no, that's not us, that's not ACD, that's the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. That's forms that fall under that special district category.
Okay,
Well, and the annual financial report goes to the state treasurer's office. That's kind of a snapshot of your financial picture. You have to list what your revenues were for the previous year and what their sources were, and of course, there's a list of codes and things like that that you put in, so you don't say, $500 donation from ABC Farm Supply, then there's a code that you'll put in. So you have to list your revenues for the year, you have to list your expenditures for the year. And then there are some questions that you have to answer as, has your district declared a financial emergency for the year? There are a few things like that. It's pretty simple. It is actually the same form that your county commission has to file. Every agency of the state has to file this same form. Now, it used to be 45 pages long, legal sheets,
wow.
and, there was something that had to go on about every page. It's been greatly reduced by that, and in most cases, you're going to file something on 2 pages.
Okay.
The revenue page and the expenditure page. And then the rest of it is contact information, a couple of questions to answer. But the annual financial report is very important.
Okay,
One thing that you personally will receive as supervisors, and this will come from your supervisor of elections office, and it'll come out usually about May, maybe April, May, sometime like that, and it is your financial disclosure form. Okay, that you will have to fill out and return back to the supervisor of elections office. Now, read those things very carefully. A lot of people get them, they panic, they don't, they think they've got to list every place that they received any revenue. It's not nearly as invasive a process as people think. But you must get that filed back in time, because then if that lapses, if that goes tardy, then the state will start fining you on that personally. And it starts hitting like $50 a day for late fees. So, none of the forms or reports that you have to deal with are particularly egregious. They're pretty simple. Most of them can be filled out. I doubt that even the annual financial report takes me 30 minutes to do for my district. And so, again, be aware of those forms, that when they come in, don't treat it as junk mail. Go ahead and process it and be done with it. Now, all of you should have received a notice from the Division of Elections in the Secretary of State's office in Tallahassee that you're supposed to send them $10 to certify your elections, and then you would get a certificate after that from the Department of State. So hopefully you've done all of that. If you haven't done that, then technically you would be impeached from office and would have to be appointed or elected again to go through that. A lot of people, for some reason, forget to ever file their certification with Tallahassee. And then they wind up kind of having to start the process over again. So, anything else I can help you with?
Thank you. You've been very, very helpful. And if I have any questions, I can contact either one of you. Is that
Absolutely.
perfect? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So I'll send an email, and in case I just want to make sure I'm not going to forget anything, I'm going to send your website, the Sunshine Law recording, the Sunshine Law direct links, the special district fee invoice form for finding where to go to pay that. I'll send the annual financial report, where to get that login, password, and the login and password for that. Is there anything that I'm missing?
and the sample board workshop notice.
Yes. So typically, like, boards will get together, talk about their budgets or plan their budgets for the year, and they'll do those. Some boards meet every 2 weeks as a board, and then every other week
And just a quick question about those, the board workshop meetings. Do they have to be in person? Do we have to have a quorum, or is that just something?
Pre-COVID, they were in person, but
Well, since you're not going to be making decisions, you're not going to be voting at those workshops, I would say those could be done virtually.
Okay,
And then at the outcome of those workshops, you would just send recommendations to your regular meeting.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Do those workshops have to be noticed?
Yes, they do.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions? Can you pass that sign-in sheet? Make sure everybody's signed in. Thank you. Hey, if you could just sign it. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. You have truly provided us, you did sign it? Okay. Okay, thank you so much. You guys were a wealth of information. We really appreciate you taking up your time and driving up to be with us today. And we'll definitely be emailing some information over to you. So really appreciate that. Next, we're going to have a presentation. We're just going to continue with our presentation. I do want to say that we have to be out of the building at 5 o'clock because it closes at 5. So hopefully we will get through this presentation and have a few minutes to kind of go over our individual reports. So next, we're going to have a presentation by Miss Betty Jo Tompkins. Hi, Miss Betty Jo, how are you?
Hi there, it's a pleasure to be here today.
Yes, it's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Sorry I couldn't make it in person, but I'm pleased to be able to get on via web. So if you'd like to, so that I know time is of the essence, if you'd like to just go ahead and play the video, and I'll be happy to answer any questions afterwards or provide them at a later time.
Okay, we definitely can do that. You take your time, and then we will. We invited you to come and help us, put together a strategic plan. So we definitely want you to help us with that today. And if we have to continue, we will continue at a different time. Okay? So we just want you to.
That's absolutely fine. In fact, once you watch the video, it'll open up an entire group of ideas that we can then discuss at your next meeting or whenever is convenient for you all.
Okay.
So we're happy to help you overall, but this gives you kind of the essence of what our district is about and just some of the things we do.
Okay.
So if they'll play it, we will begin.
Hello, I'm Betty Jo Tompkins, Executive Director of the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District, located in Tampa Bay, Florida. Now, you might ask yourself, Tampa, that's a large metropolitan city. Do they have a lot of agriculture? We absolutely do. In fact, out of Florida's 67 counties, we are the third largest in agricultural revenue. And we place 119th out of over 3,000 counties within the United States. I'm also pleased to say that our offices are right here in beautiful downtown Plant City, the winter's strawberry capital of the world. And not only that, we host the annual Florida Strawberry Festival, which ranks among the top 40 fairs in the United States. It's a real pleasure to be here today to talk to you about the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District and the very important aspect of public engagement and public awareness when it comes to teaching people about the role and scope of conservation districts around the country. Now, you might ask yourself, do our programs work? Well, we certainly think they do. Each year in our elections for supervisors, we have between 3 and 5 candidates in each race. On top of that, in our latest election in November, we had over 500,000 votes in each of our district conservationist races. And our winners received 200,000 to 300,000 votes each. As you can tell, people want to be part of the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District. So please join me in telling a little bit and learning a little bit about our district's story. Welcome to the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District. We're so proud of all the things we do and the groups that work with us to make our district a success. The fact of the matter is, you might look at our logo and say, wow, that's awfully busy. But the truth of the matter is, we found that in most cases, people have no idea what the range and scope of programs, projects, and activities conducted by conservation districts is. And therefore, we put together a logo that quickly tells everyone what we do and how they can be involved. Our district operates on a very basic core belief, and that belief is that conservation is everybody's business. Think about that. It's not just for someone that's older or younger, but absolutely everybody in the community. And for that reason, we do our programs, projects, and activities focused to our audience, which is inner city, urban, suburban, and rural communities. To be effective as a district, we encourage everyone to create a signature event. Now, that event can be something that's a single day, or it can be a week, a month, or even year-round programming. The Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District created the Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge, a group of programs, projects, and activities geared to both youth and adults, and something for every community. The purpose of the challenge was to broaden our reach, and our goal was simply this: to create and establish an integrated program that brings enhanced conservation awareness and education to individuals of all ages, ethnicities, and socioeconomic groups throughout Hillsborough County and beyond. The ambitious Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge, which was launched in 2017 and is now an annual event, culminates in a broad array of action awareness projects and initiatives. Our focus period falls between Earth Day and Arbor Day, which are located in April, and runs through Soil Stewardship Week in May. We developed an action plan, and to do so, it's important to remember a number of elements. First, develop creative programs, projects, and activities year-round. Showcase and promote initiatives during the Hillsborough 100 focus period. Make sure that you're inclusive. Look to involve each and every group you possibly can, because everyone can find a program, project, or activity that they're interested in. There are 5 ways to be engaged. First, create programs for children, teens, adults, and seniors. Involve agricultural, business, civic, nonprofit, educational, and governmental entities. In other words, involve the whole community. Reach out to all cultures and nationalities. There are all kinds of groups out there who would love to be engaged in conservation activities. Link and partner with existing initiatives. It's not necessary to reinvent the wheel. If you know of a great program or project, why not contact them and ask them if they want to be part of your overall challenge initiative? And finally, involve the media. It is critical that you engage all types of media in promoting your programs throughout the year. Reach out to the public. We do so by engaging the public in many different ways. One of the things we do is have a number of tabletop exhibits. We use these exhibits in libraries, in schools, and almost before any group we can, and the exhibits circulate throughout the year. In addition, we have a major exhibit which we use for all of the area fairs and festivals we're involved in. The fact of the matter is, Hillsborough County is quite unique, because not only are we home to the Florida Strawberry Festival, but we're also the home to the Florida State Fair, one of the major fairs in the country, and the Hillsborough County Fair. Those are just 3 of over a dozen major exhibits that we involve ourselves in annually. We use our exhibit as a great opportunity to promote all of our supporters. As you can see in this slide, all of our major donors are listed on vertical panels, which are included in all of our major fair exhibits. I'd like to just tell you a little bit about some of the things we do at area fairs. At the Florida State Fair, we have an exhibit in the Ag Hall of Fame. We participate in the Fresh from Florida Breakfast. We participate also in Hillsborough Harvested Days. In fact, on both Sundays of our state fair, they are dedicated to Hillsborough Harvested and the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District. And we're the only group that has more than one day at the fair. We're also active in the Governor's Lunch, the Ag Woman of the Year program, the Ag Hall of Fame banquet, and the Champion and Champions Youth Awards. In March of each year, we're active in the Florida Strawberry Festival with not only exhibits, but educational events of numerous types. In the month of October, we participate in the Hillsborough County Fair. There, we sponsor the Youth Plant Show for all young people, as well as a plant auction. The auction actually engages many nurserymen in the community as well as landscapers and raises about $5,000 to put back in our youth programs. We also include educational exhibits and a barbecue dinner. Other festivals we're involved with include the Go Green Fest, Earth Fest, Unity in the Community, the Clean Air Fair, and the Florida Ag Expo, just to name a few. Our Earth Day Fest includes not only our own exhibit, but exhibits from all types of groups within the community. The next area of importance is supporting our youth, and we cannot emphasize that enough. Our plant auction supports our youth programs, and whether you're in an urban or rural setting, I guarantee you, if you go out and ask for help from your agricultural community, people in the nursery and landscape business will come to you and be willing to participate in any way possible. In fact, we also make sure that we give recognition to all of our supporters in our plant auction, and we give them annual certificates which they put on display in their businesses. This in turn reinforces the auction and brings more people to each auction each year. The other thing we do with the plant auction is it gives us a great opportunity for young people to purchase plants there, which they can use at other fairs and festivals later on during the year. Other youth events we're involved in include poster contests, speech contests, photo, ag venture, envirothon, land judging, and working with the University of Florida College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. The most important thing you can do in public engagement is to build your corporate support. Now, we build our corporate support by a number of different avenues. One of them being our Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge tabloid. This annual tabloid is published during the Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge, and it is distributed throughout the area in the Tampa Bay Times, as well as at all our fairs and festivals throughout the year. Now, we make sure that we give special thanks to our major cooperating partners, and those would be Miracle Grow, Lippman Family Farms, Odeorn Insurance, M&B Products, the Florida Strawberry Growers, and Mosaic. Our tabloid also features all of our other cooperating partners because we know that together they make a difference. Again, looking at our booth, you can see how important it is for us to promote all of these partners throughout the year. In fact, it's so interesting that last year at the State Fair, we actually had someone come up and ask us, what do I have to do in order to get my company's name on one of those banners? Equally important is the fact that we proudly belong and support to many organizations ourselves. First of all, we support the Association of Florida Conservation Districts. and of course, the National Association of Conservation Districts. We also are involved with the Fresh from Florida program, FFA 4-H Scouts. We're engaged with 3 different chambers of commerce and then a lot of commodity groups. Those are just some of the groups that together we all make a difference. We're part of the Coalition of Community Gardens in Hillsborough County, which includes almost 30 gardens located throughout the Tampa Bay community. One of the other exciting programs of ours is the Lippman Farms Garden Challenge, which involves over 25 schools. They got involved first by supporting a farm tour of ours, and when they saw how enthused and active we were with the community, they agreed to sponsor our school garden challenge. They actually provide us planter boxes for all the schools. They provide us gift cards for soil and nutrients, and thousands of transplants of cherry, grape, plum, round tomatoes, watermelons, cantaloupes, and bell peppers. The program is highly successful. We started a couple years ago with 12 schools with the idea to increase by 4 schools each year. The second school year was 16 schools, and by the third year we had jumped to 26 schools. Building political support is absolutely critical. The fact is, from this slide, you can see that we're visiting with the Florida Commissioner of Agriculture, Nikki Fried, at our state fair. We have a great relationship with our public officials at local, state, and federal levels. In developing relationships, it's extremely important to remember a number of factors. First, get to know your public officials, and most importantly, make sure you know their staffs. These people can be valuable resources for each and every program you want to initiate. Make sure you engage your public officials in projects and activities that involve and affect their constituents. That's critical. They care about their constituents and appreciate it when they know you too care about them. Invite them to your fields and festivals, to your event kickoffs and awards ceremonies. We know most of our public officials on a first-name basis, and they come out to all kinds of events for us. Ask about their conservation interests and offer insights and information. They want to be as well informed as possible, and we are the avenue that can provide that information. School involvement is equally important. We do Arbor Day events throughout the community and get everyone involved. Once you engage your public officials, don't be afraid to ask them for support. First, you've built your buy-in. Now make sure that you create your case for funding. Focus on why it matters, and that means telling them the whole story of conservation and how it's everybody's business. Be clear on what you plan to accomplish. Don't just make an offer about generalities. Be very specific. Tell them what your needs are and what you want to accomplish. Then make sure you don't settle for crumbs. Most support comes from making a quality ask. When it comes to the political spectrum, remember, if you're not at the table, you just might be the one on the plate. And be accountable with accurate and quality reporting. An effective lobbyist is providing information, and it's critical that your supervisors are all well equipped to present that information in a clear and concise manner. Telling our story is critical, and this is something we do year-round. We started our challenge in 2017, and our first tabloid was a 16-page color publication that focused primarily on conservation. By 2018, our tabloid had grown to 24 pages, and we increased the areas of interest to include community garden. In 2019, we increased our scope again and included features about the Extension Service, which allowed people to have easy access to various forms of information. Now, our tabloid offers the opportunity to educate the public in many different ways. One of the features we had is on plastic and our 4Bs program called Bad, Bad, Better, Best. Quite simply, it explains to people that when they're in the grocery store and they pick up that plastic bag from the produce department, that's bad. That takes 500 years to degrade in the landfill. And then they carry that same plastic bag to the front of the store and put it in another bag. That too is another 500 years in the landfill, and that's the second bag. Now, what's better? To always ask for paper. And the very best thing you can do is to bring recycle bags. We teach this to children at an elementary school age, and it's amazing how much they absorb. And it's a good lesson for adults, too. Other programs that we support and include in our tabloid are Food's a Bargain, Hug a Farmer, educating the public on the fact that food in the United States is actually cheaper than anywhere in the world as a percentage of income. Our other program, which has been very successful, is the Be a Honey, Buy a Hive program, in which we encourage groups, civic and otherwise, to purchase beehives and allow us to place them at locations where they can provide the most pollination support. We also use the tabloid to promote all of our other kickoff supporters. We hold an annual kickoff luncheon each year, which draws about 200 people in the community who support our programs and where we recognize each of the winning programs from the previous year. Critical in any communications program is the direct-to-audience element, and we use that by a number of different sources. We have a publication called Monday Matters. In addition, we use social media, our website, email, direct mail, and flyers, handouts, posters, and certificates. Our Monday Matters provides us the opportunity to communicate both internally and externally. We focus on current activities, provide updates, include presentations, funding, judging, ribbon cuttings, meetings, and other upcoming events. Additionally, our newly revamped website includes all kinds of information and again affirms the fact that conservation is everybody's business. We also do a number of other publications, and we use these as educational tools. For our children's program, we do water cycle bracelets and soil babies, and we have printed materials, as you can see, that promote both of these. Throughout the year, we create a lot of publications as well as flyers to promote our programs, projects, and activities. Among those are our Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge Kickoff Luncheon, our land judging competition, and our annual plant auction flyers. We also produce a number of other contest flyers, including the one for our speech contest and our annual poster contest. We hold our contest for NACD during the school year, and during the summer, we also produce competitions for posters, which are included on our summer parks programs. We make sure that we recognize each and every child who participates in our poster contest. That means that whether they're a winner or not, they will receive a certificate, and the certificate also includes a picture of the poster they entered. The kids love this, but in addition to that, our winners receive cash awards, and every single child who participates in any of our poster contests receives a free ticket to our county fair, and their poster, and this is hundreds of them, are on display at the fair. It's a win-win because it brings in not only the kids, but also their parents and gives them a chance to show off their work. Equally important is taking advantage of speaking engagements. We present programs at virtually every type of group. All the schools in the county, whether they're public, private, parochial, or charter schools, as well as civic clubs such as Kiwanis, Lions, Metro Civitan, and Rotary, before political groups, church groups, chambers of commerce, and community associations, as well as annual presentations before government agencies at the county and the state level. Whatever your programs, projects, and activities, make sure you show gratitude. There's simply nothing as important. There's value in a personal letter, and that includes whether they're to businesses or governmental entities. Don't just send an email. Personalize the letter to that individual and make sure you tell them why you appreciate their support. Also remember that that support doesn't always have to be in the terms of financial dollar support, but it can be just as valuable if it's in-kind support. There is no question there is value in making connections, and those are connections that continue to endure, whether they're with individuals or companies or civic or other groups. The value of a connection can never be underestimated. There's also great value in public acknowledgement, and that's the very reason that we promote all of our sponsors and cooperating partners in not only our tabloids, but in our year-round exhibits. It is critical to make sure you acknowledge their support. And finally, it all starts and ends with two simple words, and those words are thank you. And if you say thank you and you mean it, you'll get the support of everyone. I'd like to say in closing, thank you so very much to each of you for taking the time to learn more about the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District. Please feel free to contact us at any time and visit us on our website, hillsboroughswcd.com. And remember too, we're located right here in Plant City, the winter strawberry capital of the world, and we invite you to come and visit us at any time. Have a wonderful day.
Hi, Ms. Betty Jo.
Hi there.
Wow, that was such an awesome presentation. You guys are doing some really, really good work down in Hillsborough County, and I would definitely love to bring some of that over here in Orange. Did you have any additional information you wanted to provide?
Well, I'd like to say that all of these programs are attainable, and we are always out innovating. Whether you have a small staff or no staff or a large one, if you set a set of goals, and certainly, like I said, I'm more than happy to help you all develop a long-range plan. But if you set a set of goals and then move towards them systematically, you can achieve almost anything. And I know you might be saying to yourself, well, we're in Orange County. We really don't have that much agriculture. But let me assure you, you have thousands of people involved in the nursery business, in horticulture, in landscaping, and I could go on and on and on. If people eat, they're committed to food, they're committed to conservation. So our theme, conservation is everybody's business, actually fits in any community, whether it's totally rural or totally urban or somewhere in between. So I'm very happy to have had the opportunity to present the video to you. It's similar to one that I presented earlier this week at our national meeting. And the thing I also want to mention to you, I mentioned in the video that we're in a lot of the fairs and festivals. So you're right down the road from us, and I want to tell you that the Florida Strawberry Festival will be occurring March the 4th through the 14th, and the Florida State Fair, which would normally have been in February, will be this year from Earth Day, April the 22nd, to Sunday, May the 2nd. I hope you'll take the time to come out to either or both of these. I'd also like to say that because we couldn't have our plant auction because of COVID, we are actually going to have something I think is going to be a lot of fun, and that is a blueberry U-pick. And I'll be sending you all the details. It'll be coming up in a couple months. And I hope that some of you will come out that day and support our program and have a good time. We also cooperate on a strawberry U-pick with 4-H. The biggest and most important thing you can do is to develop your connections with the schools, with civic organizations, with entities, governmental entities. I can't stress that enough. That's where success comes from. And I also want you to know, I'm really jealous that next February, excuse me, the national meeting will be coming right to your hometown, Orlando. To be honest with you, we pitched to have the national meeting come to Tampa, but since we didn't have a hotel large enough, you all were fortunate enough to get that opportunity. So we're real excited, and we're hoping that actually will fall next February 12th to the 16th, and that falls during the Florida State Fair. So we're actually hoping to have some tours with the State Fair, and that's peak strawberry season. So we hope you'll be out this way for that too. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I know time is short.
Okay. Do anybody have any questions for Ms. Betty Jo?
Not at this time, but thank you so much again, Betty Jo, for presenting.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure. And like I said, I'm happy to come back and some point meet with you in person and work on a plan for your district. I know you have the opportunity for so much potential there. And if you don't mind, I'm going to sit through the rest of this program.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Certainly. I know, Ms. Betty Jo, we're probably going to set up a workshop, and we're definitely going to invite you to come
Absolutely.
and participate in the workshop for us and help us really figure out or plan out our strategic plan. So you'll be
I'll be
receiving an
happy
invitation
to.
soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that was really good. Next up, we have public comment. I don't know if we have anybody on the virtual panel that has a comment, Okay, hearing none. The next up, we have a treasurer's report. I was able to get in contact with our previous supervisor, Ms. Tiffany, and she provided me with the balance, and the balance is, we have $983.35 in our account currently. She is available either next Tuesday or next Thursday, Supervisor Campbell, to go over and have the account switch. So I didn't know what your schedule and your availability was going to be, so that we can, and you and I can, if you can give me a date, either Tuesday or Thursday of next week, and we can go over and get everything switched over to your name.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. The next up was District Conservation Report. Mr. Chuck is not here, but did everybody have an opportunity to read the MOU that he presented last week? Okay. And I'm sure he'll come back because we have to sign that. So if you have any questions, just make sure you please mark those down. And now we're going into old business. I know we're going to go into old business, but I know a lot of you probably have this on your report. So we're just going to kind of talk about some things that we did talk about during our last meeting. And the first one we have is the food project that we were looking to host together. I'm sorry, Supervisor Lozano, sorry.
No, no worries. So I reached out to a couple different people and found out that East or Orlando, South Cimarron might be a good location. There's a large immigrant community. There's 30,000 renters in that area. Also, that location would be in the district of Daisy Morales, Myra Uribe, and Maribel Cordero. So, and also possibly Darren Soto. So I wanted to ask and see if if we're comfortable with that location. There's also Father Jose, who runs a food drive near a church there. So I wanted to, before reaching out, see if people were comfortable with me reaching out to these various stakeholders and see if they're, comfortable with signing on with us and if they want to be involved.
I don't have any objections. Anybody is? I know Commissioner Uribe is hosting a food drive on the next weekend. I signed up for it. I don't have the date with me, but I think it's next weekend it's going to be. She's hosting one in District 3. Just to follow up with your, with the food drive, I did reach out to the form share, and the young lady did tell me that they do have some slots available for April and May. She would just need to have the address of the location so that she can go out and survey that area to make sure that it's big enough. We would have to provide about 30 to 40 volunteers, which I think between all of us and our networks, I don't think that would be an issue. And we also have to provide a forklift, if anyone just have one laying around, forklift. We have to also provide that particular service. I did ask some folks in my network of folks if they, because I know like Commissioner Burns, he's held several, State Rep Bracy have held several, and they did not have one. So I don't know if you guys know where we can borrow a forklift from. Then let me know, because she said they're going to bring in a 18-wheeler, and then the food would have to be offloaded. And we would also have to provide an operator, but if we don't provide the operator, that she's able to operate it herself. We just have to get the equipment.
So also, to add to that, I have contacts for Florida Rights and Restoration Coalition. If you guys would like to get them involved too, they could provide people with PPE, and also Feed the Need as well. They could also help us out with the food drive too.
Okay. So, anybody have any other questions or any concerns about the food drive?
For the forklift, does it make sense to maybe get quotes of like renting one?
We
Is that
definitely
how-
can look into that, and I was gonna also look into maybe contacting our technical schools to see if they have a student, or maybe if one of them can come over. I just have not done that yet, so I would definitely reach out to the tech school, and then I'll see where we can rent one from.
Yeah, and I could reach out to like Home Depots and things like that and see if maybe they would, donate the use of one for the
Okay.
day. I could
Okay.
try. And then my husband, I think, can operate it.
Okay.
And can you repeat the name of the title, if it's a specific title for that food drive?
We haven't came up with the title, we just thought about the idea, but we definitely can, come up with a specific title if you wanted to.
I just figured it would be easier to advertise if, as a public relations person, you would, find that easier to do as well in terms of promoting. So that way it's, it makes us a little bit more distinct since there are multiple food drives going on right now.
I definitely think we can do that, and now that I've learned, and today has been a great educational experience for me, that we can host workshops. Maybe we can set a workshop up in 2 weeks, a virtual one, and just kind of walk through the process and what that looks like, and then, how we would do it moving forward, if you guys want to do that.
Can we make a motion towards that, to set up a workshop?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can.
Then I will set a motion for about 2 weeks. I'm not
I'm-
too sure what everyone's schedule is like in 2 weeks, but in 2 weeks' time for a workshop to discuss the food drive details.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
okay. And do anyone have any, a particular date of the week that they're more available than the other?
Fridays,
You said
Fridays
Fridays?
is fine.
Fridays.
Okay.
Mhm.
So do you want to do Friday, the 26th? Well, I have to give, that'll give us enough time. If we do it on the 26th, then I can get notices out. Or we can do Friday the 5th, March 5th.
What works for everyone? In 2 weeks or in 3 weeks?
Let's do 3 weeks. That way I can make sure I get the proper meeting notification sent out. So let's do March 5th.
Same time, 3:30?
Yes. And if everyone is in agreement, we can do it on a virtual platform?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. The next item under old business, we talked about getting some uniformed T-shirts. I don't know if you were able to get any pricing.
So
Supervisor.
last meeting, we had requested price estimates for different items such as name tags, nameplates, and shirts. During the last meeting, we did not discuss specifically details about the material. So, what color, what is it going to have on it? So that definitely does make an impact on getting a quote. I have reached out to a couple businesses so far. Once again, it depends on the type of material that you would like and what kind of, if you want to put on a logo with it or not. But I did find one quote for $16 for a shirt, and that is just putting names, no label, no logo on it. And that was for a men's shirt. Same price for women's as well, but for a white polo shirt, it was $16. And I also obtained price estimates for the name badges as well. I have different images here where I took screenshots, so that way I can email that to everyone. I wanted to make sure that we discuss this, just to make sure if anyone questions the quality of the material or happens to know of a better, more reputable company. For instance, I tried to keep it local, while I did also use some non-local businesses as well to get this information. And so I have a question in regards to disseminating information about what we discuss in the meetings. So I personally would like to make a Google Drive. Is that possible for us board members to use in order to share just price quotes on items listed that we've talked in meetings, or also about just ideas or anything mentioned in the meeting, such as the food drive details? Okay.
area is very broad. You can provide information
I'm gonna try to.
to your fellow supervisors. But again, you couldn't engage in any discussion or take any action.
So for the Google Drive, I was thinking of using it kind of as notes, listing information that we've discussed in previous board meetings, such as, getting prices for different items. Also, just noting details for upcoming events. So it would be kind of information that could be archived, so something that's already been publicly discussed. Would that be all right to share with others in a Google Drive? Or I personally can just overlook that and make sure that we keep this information, available, and if any of the supervisors, would like a summary of a topic that we've touched on, I can provide them with that.
I think that to be safe, you would need to put a disclaimer on your website, something like that, that further information could be on this Google Drive and show how to access that, because it does concern matters that are coming before the board, so the public does have the right to see that information also.
Okay.
As long as you don't try to hide anything and keep it in public access, it's probably okay.
And with Google Drives, it is possible to make something shareable, that the public cannot edit, but they can view. And it is also possible.
You would want it to be view only.
Yes. But if I were to share it with other supervisors, should I only make it so that they can view it as well? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Supervisor Lozano, any other questions?
So if it's all right with you, I would, as the chairperson, would you be the primary person that I would share the price estimates for the items for?
Yes, I think we just need to decide on if we want to decide on a logo or what we want on the shirts and the pins, if that would help you further in just determining an actual price point, then we definitely can do that. I mean, I'm okay with either one, but I would like, if we could get the State of Florida logo and our name, I think it'll look a little bit more professional on a shirt. And I know we talked about polo shirts. And then for the name tag, I like Supervisor Campbell's name tag, if she would share where she received hers from.
I will find out from the disability board that I'm on, that's where we got ours from.
Okay.
Suggestion also for the shirt, instead of a white shirt, possibly like a hunter green, so green, kind of a, conservation, that kind of thing. And I know for me, I'll always spill something on a white shirt.
Yes, I was looking into that, so I chose the generic white shirt, and I also did like the idea of a green shirt, something that kind of represents conservation. Once again, we're gonna have to go really nitty gritty into the details. Do we want it, what kind of green do we want it? Do we want it dark green, I'm not too sure what a hunter's green is.
It's a
but-
darker green,
Okay.
yeah.
So, who feels comfortable with a dark green color? Does everyone feel comfortable with that?
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yep, sure.
And also, it would state the logo, the Florida state emblem, then it would be our name, as well as the title of our organization. Do we need to specify what seat or what group we represent? I think just the name of the board would be appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would also need to obtain everyone's size.
Okay.
So if it's all right, starting with Nate, could you say your size, and then it would be shirt size?
Small, adult.
Next person?
Excel.
Small.
And your size?
Large.
And so I would also like to get an idea of what kind of, I know we had mentioned this name tag is ideal. Nate has also gotten a name tag as well. If you would like to see it as well, just to compare. Just there are different styles, so if there's a preference, do you want a gold plate, do you want a white one?
Okay. Yeah, Nate's I think that's the one we talked about
Yes.
during the last meeting as well.
And I
So-
did look on the website for that one, and for each of the name tags, it's about $10 for each of them.
Okay.
So I can go ahead and share some of the prices that I've already gotten. But it is important just to know, specifically what color we want, whether or not we add a logo or not.
Okay.
And I don't know if Nate has it on his, but it's supposed to be like the state of Florida, not just the Orange County.
Yes, he has the state of Florida.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
I'd like to see that later.
So just to be specific, from namebadge.com, the badge for each person, without Nate, since he had already purchased one, is $9.25 for each person. That was the best one that I've signed so far in terms of price-wise.
Okay. Or is that a union printer or?
Union printer, I'm not too sure. I can go ahead and call and ask. They did
Union
not
printer
specify.
might be about the same price because this was $10 shipping as well.
Okay,
Oh, so that, the shipping is $10?
okay.
Wow.
Yes,
Well,
because,
what we can do, because we are 1 minute to 5 o'clock, and Nate has a proclamation that he wanted to present, and I think that is of very importance. We can table this conversation, and we can have it during our workshop and come and discuss the logistics of everything.
okay, can we settle what color, what kind of name tag would we prefer?
I think I like the gold one.
Okay.
I like that one.
And is that also the case for the nameplate, if that's something we're adamant about?
With the nameplates, I know previous Representative Morales had basically just went to Office Depot and had some made up for us. So we definitely can get some nameplates that we can pretty much make up ourselves and then place them in the marker. Because again, we're only working with $983, and so if we're going to motion that this money comes out of this fund, I want to try to use it for some of the events that we support throughout the year.
Okay,
other
and there are
ways.
some nameplates that you slide in your name, and there are some plates that are already engraved. Do you have a preference? Is there any preferences?
I have no preference.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no preference. Okay. And I think that we have one other matter, and that's our website matter. And if everybody is in agreement, can we just table that conversation to our next meeting? Can I get a motion, please?
Motion to table the website matters till the next meeting?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
motion passed. Okay. So now we're going to go into supervisor's report, and the first is Supervisor Douglas.
Okay, so I just wanted to, first, I want to get in contact with OCPS, some type of programs director, so we could get a poster contest up and going, and preferably very open to special learning disabilities as well. And for next meeting, I have someone who would be very glad to, from page 15, to tell us more about an essay contest that's going on. Her name is Julia Young. If we could get her at the next meeting, that would be great. Next month's meeting.
Okay.
And that's it for my report.
Okay. Supervisor Campbell?
Okay, I recently took part in a science fair, Seminole County Science Fair, which was very, very cool. I was dealing with the environmental aspect of things. Also submitted an appropriations bill to the House. Daisy Morales is sponsoring it. It actually has a House bill number, House Bill 3525, and it is the Magic of Orange County STEM and outdoor learning for K through 12 and beyond. So this is the thought process was that to partner with the various schools, the various programs. There's some that exist, but the aspect of expanding that, I worked with Betty Jo to put this document together. It was originally submitted to the Department of Agriculture, however, it's been moved to Education. But because it's K through 12 and beyond, it could also include technical schools, colleges, with the various types of things that we need. And there is, part of this bill, there is a fund for a full-time staff person to coordinate a lot of these efforts, because you're going to need to get, various things donated, et cetera, and so that's also part of the cost that we're requesting. Don't know how it's going to go, but this is my first foray into that. And there's also a Senate bill that goes along with that has not been submitted yet, but it's very close to being submitted, and that one is being sponsored by Victor Torres.
Okay.
So his office. So working those, and also working with air quality. From the League of Women Voters, we found out about air quality surveys that are happening in this area, and they're looking for volunteers in various neighborhoods. I'm volunteering my neighborhood. Basically, if you're able to have volunteers from neighborhoods They're looking more in the Orange County area. However, it can go into other locations. They were trying to be primarily downtown, but again, based on how many volunteers they get, the goal is to have 3 neighborhood volunteers, and that way you can also work on an air quality plan for your neighborhood, and education, telling people in your community how good or bad your air quality is. There's individuals from the Paramore District that are signing on for this, et cetera. This is a UCF survey, and UCF is working with Arizona State University as well. So taking a look at the air quality in different neighborhoods around the county, and if you have 3 people from each neighborhood that volunteers, in addition to setting up a plan and communicating that information, but your neighborhood can also be eligible for up to $5,000, which is quite nice. And also working with the Natural Resources Committee on League of Women Voters and the Climate Subcommittee, so learning a lot through them. And we'll continue working with Betty Jo, also did a presentation with the National Federation of the Blind for the Washington seminar that we had this week with Congressman Stephanie Murphy's office regarding website accessibility and also app accessibility for blind and people with disabilities, because a lot of websites are not very accessible. So that's my report. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Campbell. And can you give me that House bill one more time, please?
Sure. It's House Bill 3525.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Supervisor Lozano?
So I would like to address a constituent concern. Someone had reached out to me personally, and as well as the board itself. Her name is Jane Gordon. I might be Gonder, Sarah Gonder. So I have prepared what she had emailed me and kind of written about that her community in Eastwood is currently having issues with overdevelopment. There's a golf course in the area that has been closed for some time, and so the golf course owner, he wants to rezone the area so that way they can introduce more housing, I believe about 300 to 500 more houses, and a lot of people in the community are opposed to that. And so there seems to be a constant battle between the citizenry that lives there and the golf course owner. So this has been going on for years. There's an article that I've published, I put in here the message from the constituent, an article from Orlando Sentinel stating the case, and another article stating kind of how golf courses, not only in Orlando, but golf courses in general, seem to kind of become outdated or in need of renovation or need to be revitalized. So I printed these out, as much information as I could, to describe the case, the problem, and possible solutions. An issue such as this has been going on for years. Is not going to be fixed right away, but it does require community engagement. I previously worked for Commissioner Emily Bonilla, and with my connections at UCF and with UCF professors, I was able to ask professors, can you help me develop a survey so that way it's comprehensive, making sure that it addresses all the important details that the citizenry needs to know or are trying to address with this issue. And so I just wanted to present this to the board so that way we can acknowledge this constituent concern. And I would like to make a motion, which can be tabled, that we participate in this somehow, which we can do a workshop. Ideally, I would like to develop a survey so that way we can at least start gauging the citizens that live there. What would you like to see from the redevelopment of a golf course, since that has been ongoing. So it's a matter of how can they transform this space into something that is beneficial to the community and not something that would harm it down the road. And that is my report.
Is there any events that's taking place within the next couple of weeks or months, or do you know how far the developer has gotten as far as permits, passes? Has it been approved? Do we know?
I do know that he is, as of last November, he did go to the Board of County Commissioners to try to rezone it so that way it could accommodate housing. and the board disapproved of it due to just public outcry against it. So I wanted to share this information with everyone first before getting into the details of it, just making sure that it's within, our means of being able to participate in.
Okay, so what we'll do is, let's revisit this during our next meeting.
Yes.
And if you can research how far this has gotten as far as, with the county commissioners, then we can move forward. The next up is myself. I'm gonna table, I don't have anything to report because we are at 5:09 and we're supposed to be out at 5 o'clock. Supervisor Slife, do you have anything?
Okay, I'll just mention really quickly, I'm working with a woman named Pam Safran on a lake cleanup in Winter Park. We're planning to put together pamphlets and survey the neighborhoods around with information about fertilizer and runoff. I wanted to see if we all want to sign on as a board and do this as kind of like a public engagement opportunity. That's something that we can discuss in the workshop, if that's all right. I also spoke with Eric Rollins, and he would love to come and talk to us about, just expanding our board, the things that we can do locally. So whether it's next meeting or the meeting after, just so that we know that he's a resource and he'd like to come to our meetings. Also, I am hoping to put together a press release for our board. One of the questions that I had is, I'd like to get bios. I was gonna just kind of take them offline, but I thought maybe it makes more sense for people to weigh in the way that they feel most comfortable. Is it okay for people to send me their bios? That's fine, right? So if everyone's comfortable with that, if you could send me a little piece of your bio that I could take some things from, and then I can bring the press release to our next meeting, and we can see if we are all comfortable with it. Is that okay? And then, yeah, Chuck is gonna, Chuck O'Rourke said that he's gonna find some days for us to go do the agricultural land. He's gonna send dates to all of us. I told him to send the dates. But it's gonna be sometime hopefully in March, and it might not be able to be all of us together, but we're working on that part. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Quick question.
New business?
Oh, I'm sorry, Carolyn had a question.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just wanted to say, for the poster contest, my understanding is that the time frame that NACB, I think it's NACB, will be evaluating that has shifted. So there's still time if students want to submit that. Is that something that we also want to send out information about?
Yes, when is it, do you know when is it due?
I have to get the date. My understanding is that it's supposed to be in February, but because the date that it's going to be reviewed is further down the line, according to what Betty Jo mentioned to me, there's more time for students to submit if they choose to do so, but I can get the date.
Okay, yes, we definitely can do that. Oh, Miss
Yep,
Betty Jo?
yep, she's got.
Tell you very quickly, the area meetings, which hopefully you all will participate in, will not begin until the middle of May this year. Normally, they would start in April. They'll run between the middle of May and July 8th. Our area, which includes Orange County, Hillsborough and all, our meeting date isn't set yet. But technically speaking, you could run your poster contest all the way through mid-April. And then you can judge them. The main thing is you have to have your posters decided before the area meeting so they can go to that next level.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. When is it due?
Say that again?
When is it due?
When is it due?
Yeah.
I'd like to get through it as quickly as possible. I'm just handing it to you all,
Okay.
and that's it. But I have a motion to make as well.
Okay.
So that motion is right now, on the bylaws, it says that we meet monthly, every second Friday. I'd like to make it every second Friday and every fourth Friday, starting in March.
Clarification.
I would like to extend our meetings to twice a month as opposed to once a month.
I'm not comfortable moving forward with that right
Hold on
at
one
this
second.
moment. Oh,
You have a
now.
motion? Do I have a second?
Oh, sorry.
No second, the motion fails.
Okay. So I'm just going to pass a proclamation to you all as well, and we could get started with that. We could table this for next meeting.
Okay, perfect. Do we have anything for the good of the order?
One more thing, I need a committee member name for the NACD annual meeting committee.
I'd like to be that person.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Does that make sense for everyone?
yes, it does.
Okay, if everyone's
Raquel.
comfortable with that, I'd like to.
Supervisor Raquel Lozano.
Oh, no, I'm not.
No, I thought you said, oh, Slife, sorry, Supervisor Slife. I'm sorry. Supervisor Slife.
Thank you.
If that's all, we're gonna adjourn the meeting at 5:14.